Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto awakens a bloodline in wave Sasuke bashing. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by TheAstralNinja and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Kakashi Haddock was in the land of Wave looking at the now finished bridge, watching passengers come and go across it and merchants traveling with wagons full of supplies. Kakashi smiled under his mask at the success Wave had upon completion of the bridge. He turned to the great arch that formed the front of the bridge and felt pride at the name. The villagers of Wave had named it the Great Naruto Bridge. He made his way across into the now blooming town and saw many stores and stalls, all trying to sell their wares to passing people. He made his way through the crowd to the back of the city to a hill which was surrounded by a fence with a sign that said no disrespect. Behind it were two graves, one marked by a bouquet of wilting flowers with a broken mask in between it, the other marked by a giant semi-rusted sword with a cross-through Kiri headband. Kakashi took out a scroll and brought out a new bouquet of flowers and a polishing kit. Replaced the flowers and took out the sword and placed it on his lap as he sat. He picked up the polishing kit and began talking to no one. Zabuza, Haku. It's been a while, hasn't it? A lot has happened since then. Kiri ended its civil war finally. I heard the bloodline users won and that the new Mizukage is young but knows what she's doing. I've been doing well myself but I wanted to come by and thank you both. My student Naruto is shining brightly. He even stole your motivation, Haku. He now fights for his precious people. I wish I could say the same about Sasuke. He defected the village and went to follow Orochimaru. One of the recently promoted Chunin from Naruto's friend group led a retrieval mission but it only ended with a majority of the group being wounded or seriously injured. Sakura is taking instructions from Lady Tsunade now from what I hear. He said all the while polishing up the giant sword and sharpening it. You guys don't know how much I am grateful that we ran into you on that mission. It's because of you guys that Naruto finally started to take being a ninja seriously. I also came to pay my respects you both. Maybe at a different time or place we could have been friends or decent allies. Zabuza, I hope you did find Haku in the other place. May you guys stay at rest. He said, planting the big sword back in the ground and turned walking out of the place and disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Naruto looked at the man with slight frown and shook his head, no pervy sage, I have other things to do. Maybe if that doesn't work out then I'll take you up on your offer but right now there is something I have to do. The man in front of him looked shocked. The white-haired man shook his head and tried again, Naruto, what's up? You're always excited about training. What's so important that you can't train with me? Again Naruto shook his head, don't worry about it. After my fight with Sasuke I realized something. I need to expand myself. I found out way to train to help improve myself. I want to try helping myself first then I'll come to you. Besides you have a spy network to run. Go keep an eye out for whatever you haven't told me about yet. That takes priority right now. I'll talk to you later, pervy sage. He said and closed the door. Rejecting Jiraiya's training trip wasn't easy but he had found something. To Naruto this took priority over everything. He went over to every corner of his house and made sure all the windows were closed and the door was locked before going to the only room in the house. Naruto's house was small. It had a small kitchen that connected to the living room. The living room wasn't too much bigger than the kitchen but it had enough room for a chair and a decent couch. It had a hallway that went straight to the only bedroom in the house with a bathroom attachment on the side of the hallway. The bedroom was a good size for one person. It held a large bed with a body mirror and a dresser with a closet on the side. Naruto walked to the closet and went to the corner where one of the boards were sticking up slightly. Naruto bit his finger and let some blood run over it. The board flashed for a second before popping up. Naruto smirked as he moved the board over and looked at the contents that filled the space under the board. There were two boxes, one had a blue lightning bolt with a dove in front of it, the other had a red swirl on it. He picked up the second box. He had found these after he got out of the hospital and was doing some house cleaning. Tsunade had been very strict about him not overexerting his body while his healing factor was working his magic. So started cleaning up his house wand moving boxes. It was after he got a rather bad splinter trying to push the board down did he learn about the blood seal on the floor. That was a couple days ago and he had only opened the first box which contained scrolls. One was addressed to him. From his mother. Naruto wanted to make sure he wouldn't be interrupted when he went through the scrolls, he also wanted to make sure that no one knew they existed so no one could take them. He opened the red box and took out the scroll with his name on it. He opened the scroll gently and began reading. Dear Naruto. By the time you're reading this I guess I'll be dead. Kyuubi is wreaking havoc across the forest and is making its way over here. You were just born and Minato took you. By Kami I hate what we have to do but I know it has to happen. Anyways I told Hiruzen to place these here in the house and to give you this house when you were ready. It used to be my house before I married Minato. I wish to explain something to you. If you don't know by now, you are a Jinchuriki. A person with a demon sealed inside you. This doesn't mean you are an evil person or make you a demon, Naruto-kun. Most importantly, even though Minato is optimistic, growing up a Jinchuriki is a hard life. The older generation will fear and hate you because you will hold the one thing that broke the peace. If they act the way I think they will try to corrupt the younger generation, and you may not have any friends. They may also spread stories about us. You see, your lineage is to stay a secret until you are strong enough to protect yourself. We have many enemies, son, and they would gladly kill you out of spite. But if you're reading this, then that means you're strong enough. Son, I want to say one thing. No matter what anyone says, your father and I love you. Your father couldn't stop talking about how he was training you to be the best ninja in the world. I couldn't stop thinking about how I was teach you everything you needed to know. Now to some serious business. What you are about to read can't be told to anyone until you know you are ready. Here it is. You are in Uzumaki. My clan. We were royalty. Literally. My family was heir to the royal throne of Whirlpool. We were probably the last dynasty in the great nations, but it's okay. You are the sole survivor and next heir to the throne. The bloodline of our great people runs strong through your veins. The other scrolls hold many things, the select weapon that we Uzumaki made famous. The fighting style and weapons fighting style. There are a set of clothes in, though I doubt they will fit. My old headband. Another has the history of our clan. But there are 2 scrolls in there that you must never let anyone take. One is a scroll that will show you how to control your bloodline, and the other is the royal scroll of forbidden jutsu. You can compare it to the forbidden scroll of sealing in the Leaf Village. It is the prize of the possession of our village. It holds every single technique. Son, I'll put my trust in you. You know your limits, don't push yourself trying to learn any of these jutsu, okay? I'm dying, son. We Uzumaki are probably the only people that can live a biju being extracted from our system. I was the previous container. While you were being born, the Kyuubi was making things hard. Someone kidnapped me after making Minato save you. He took me somewhere and forcefully extracted the Kyuubi. Minato found me, took me to the hospital. There's nothing they can do to save me. I love you, Naruto. Be a good boy and find a nice woman to marry. Love, your mother. Kushina Uzumaki. Naruto was a mix of emotions. On one side, he wanted to cry. His family hadn't abandoned him and they loved him. On the other, he was royalty and he had a bloodline. He also learned his parents' name. Naruto frowned. Minato sounded familiar to him, but he didn't know where. He looked down in concentration when another voice filled his head. The mongrel who locked me away in here, the voice said with a sarcastic attitude. Naruto furrowed his brow. Ever since the fight with Sasuke and his overuse of Kyuubi's chakra, a link was made that let the two talk to each other. That's when his phrase registered in his head and he froze. Naruto wasn't as stupid as most people believed. It was all a mask. So the fourth really is my dad. Well, at least I can take pride in the fact that my dad was able to bring the almighty Kyuubi to stand still, Naruto responded with a grin. Naruto had long ago had different ideas about who his father was. The idea that the fourth Hokage had entertained his mind when he thought about why he was used for the sealing to begin with. He was told by the third Hokage that he was the only baby around at the time, but Naruto didn't believe it. Naruto wasn't mad, a little annoyed, but he had put 2 and 2 together. He couldn't ask for someone else to sacrifice their own son when he had his own. Naruto looked at the other box, he figured it held his father's stuff. He opened it and found scrolls and one addressed to him that said, "Read first. Dear Naruto. I am dead by the time you are reading this. Someone kidnapped Kushina and released the Kyuubi on the village. You will be used to save the village and be the one to hold back the mightiest of the 9 Biju. I don't have a lot of time to write. Just know I love you and I am proud of you no matter what you do. In this box you will find the history of our clan, our jutsu, and the property statements we own around the village. Also there is a scroll that contains the location of the Namikaze compound. You will find many of my relics in these scrolls. I hope you enjoy, Naruto. Live your life fully. I am going to save your mother now. Stay strong even when times get tough, I believe in you. If you have any questions about me or your mother, ask Kakashi Haddock, he was my pupil. Love you, father. Minato Namikaze." Naruto smiled at his dad's simple approach to the letter. He started going through his dad's box first and would go through his mother's later. The first scroll he unsealed held something that made Naruto's eyes widen. It was a long with cloak with flames licking the bottom with the words "yellow flash" on the back. He tried it on and looked in the mirror. For a moment he swore the image of the fourth appeared in the mirror, looking back at him with pride. Beside him a red-deeded woman had a smile of pure joy upon looking at him. When he turned around he found he was alone in his house. He shook his head and put the jacket back and moved on. The next thing to pop out was a box full of tri-pronged kunai with a seal on them. In it was a notebook labeled the Flying Thunder God. Naruto made a silent vow to learn this jutsu to honor the memory of his father. He looked the notes in the book and realized he would have to start learning more about seals and realized his father sealed away books on the subject. The next couple scrolls held documents about various properties his clan owned. The Naruto quickly added up the numbers. Holy shit. I own 52% of the Leaf Village, Naruto thought with shock. He put those on the side for later, he would have to go through that in more details. The next scroll held a bunch of jutsu and another held a history scroll that went over the entire clan's history. Another thing he would have to go over. He put everything back in the box and moved on to his mother's things. The first scroll revealed a worn red headband that had a swirl on it. Naruto put on his dresser and moved on to the next. He found scroll with the royal lineage in the clan tree. He then found another scroll that when unsealed showed a bright blue sheath that held a katana with a red hilt that had a sapphire as the pommel. Naruto drew the blade and marveled at the craftsmanship of the blade. He saw seals engraved to the side and he had no idea he read them, but he did, and it read, "To the next ruler of Whirlpool. May they always be protected." He unsealed the harness of the blade and put both aside. The next scrolls had the two scrolls his mother had told him about. He opened the bloodline one first. It was labeled the Royal Ice type release. He rose an eyebrow at that. Maybe I can use jutsu like Haku used. He was about to read it when there was a knock at the door. Naruto stiffened before putting everything away and hiding the sword away in the closet. He went to the door and found Kakashi standing there. "Hello Naruto, may I come in?" Kakashi asked with a polite sound in his voice. Naruto just stepped aside to let the tall man in and closed the door. Naruto had a thought, maybe he can help me, but on the outside, "What's up Kakashi-sensei?" Kakashi took a seat on the couch and made a motion for Naruto to sit with him. "Jiraiya-sama told me you rejected his offer for training. I am not here to criticize that, Naruto, so close your mouth. I came here to see if you were interested in training with me. Jiraiya thinks you aren't ready to know this yet, but I think you are. I am going to tell you this so you know the gravity of the situation. There was a reason Jiraiya wanted you with him. There is a group out there. They call themselves the Akatsuki. We don't know a lot, but we do know that they are a group that consists of nothing but S-rank ninja and above. And they are after all 9 of the tailed beast. Which means that sooner or later they'll come after you. You already know 2 of the members. They attacked you after all," he said, and let Naruto figure it out. "Itachi and Kisame, right?" Naruto asked while Kakashi nodded. "That's right Naruto. So in light of these facts, will you train with me?" he asked. Naruto looked at his room real quick before he decided he was going to ask a question. "Hey Kakashi-sensei, did you know my mom or dad?" Kakashi froze before he had a sad look in his eyes. "Yes Naruto, I did. They were both amazing shinobi that loved you dearly even before you were born. They both died in the Kyuubi attack, but they protected you until the end. I am glad I knew them," he said with a reminiscing tone. "Naruto, let's go to the training grounds and spar real quick. I want to see something." Naruto looked surprised but nodded his head. Kakashi grabbed him and they both disappeared in a swirl of leaves. A few minutes later Naruto stood facing Kakashi. Kakashi in turn put his hands in his pockets and gave a lazy smile. "Come at me whenever you're ready Naruto." Naruto grinned and made his signature hand sign and 3 clones popped into existence and charged Kakashi. Kakashi shook his head at the brash move and went to defend himself when all of the clones went up in smoke. Kakashi's eyes widened as his vision was blinded by the smoke and went full instinct as he waited for Naruto to make his move. Naruto smirked when he saw Kakashi shake his head and mentally order the clones to dispel as he made a 4th clone and he made a Rasengan. Both the orange-clad ninja charged Kakashi when the clone leapt forward right as the smoke started to clear. Kakashi moved to hit the clone only for Naruto to dispel it again and used the smoke as coverage. Gaining ground on the blind Jonin, he thrust his hand forward to the blind side of the gray-haired Jonin's stomach. Kakashi reacted with instinct and caught Naruto's wrist and threw him to the ground. The resulting explosion left a crater in the ground. Kakashi had saw enough. "That's good Naruto, I've seen enough," he said as Naruto rose from the ground. He walked over to Naruto and led him to a spot on the ground to rest. "Okay Naruto, listen up. Your parents told me only to tell you when you were strong enough. You are strong. Naruto, I say this and I mean it, your parents would be so proud of you. I knew your father personally. With Sasuke missing and Sakura taking lessons under Tsunade, I would like to know if you would want to go on a training trip with me," he said in seriousness. "If you come with me and you grow strong, I'll tell you everything about your parents." Naruto knew right then and there he could tell Kakashi, "Sure Kakashi-sensei, how long will be gone?" 4 years probably. "I want you to explore the elemental nations with me and learn as much as you can. All I have to do is tell the Hokage my intentions." Naruto nodded his head and bit his tongue. "Hey Kakashi-sensei, would you mind taking us back to my house? I would like to show you something." Kakashi rose an eyebrow but accepted Naruto's request. Upon entering his house he took a deep breath. "Wait right here Kakashi-sensei." He ran to the back room and pulled out the sword and looked at it. Stealing his resolve, he slowly made his way out to the kitchen and saw Kakashi looking at some of the pictures on the wall. Kakashi turned towards Naruto and froze when his eyes fell upon the blade in his hands. Kushina Ka-san's blade. He looked up and saw Naruto's face. There was fear in his eyes. Kakashi sensei, you know who my parents are. This was my mother's blade, right? Kakashi just stared wide-eyed at Naruto. I think it's time for an explanation. The lone figure made their way to a gated area in a peaceful little port town. She looked around and saw no one was around. Entering the area, she brought out a sack and brought out a candle. She placed it on the grave that held a giant sword as the marker. She lit the candle and bowed her head. Sending a small prayer to the gods above, she looked at the other grave with sadness in her eyes. She shed a single tear. She got up and walked out of the area. Walking back into town, she went to one of the restaurants and went to the back. She grabbed one of the aprons and proceeded to a small kitchen. Two people were working and stopped to see who had entered the room. They both smiled upon seeing the raven-haired youth. Yuki-chan, you're early. My shift doesn't end for another hour or so. The women, Yuki, just smiled. It's okay, Anna-san. I have nothing better to do anyway. You and Chief go ahead and take a break. I can take over from here. The guy looked at the other women and shook his head. Very kind of you, Yuri, but I have to finish cutting these fish and Anna needs start cooking. Customers will be coming soon. How about you go up front and take order? It'll certainly be helpful around here. The man said. Yuki thought about it before she nodded. Go through the door next to Anna. She was just in time as the first customer came in. Yuri rose an eyebrow when she saw a squad of Leaf Ninja enter. One was a chubby boy wearing a gray shirt with a green overcoat eating chips. The only female had blonde hair and a ponytail. One wore a vest and had black hair in the shape of a pineapple and a bored expression. The older one was a jonin who looked to be in his 30s smoking a cigarette. She walked over to them with a menu. Sir, please put out the cigarette and put it away. This is a smoke-free zone. She said with a smile. The older man simply nodded him, took one last puff and put the cigarette away. Hello, my name is Yuki. I will be your waiter. And if I may ask, why are there Leaf Ninja in the land wave? The older man waved a hand. We were just stopping by for food, supplies and rest. Is there a shop where we can get some ninja tools at? Yuki put a hand on her chin and thought. I believe there is one store, though it is small. We are a simple port town, so we don't have any high quality equipment, but you should be able to replace your kunai and shuriken. The inn is just down the street if you're looking for rest. They can also point you in the direction of the store. Have you all decided what you would like to order? Kakashi leaned back in his chairs as Naruto told him about how his mother and father had left scrolls for him. What Kakashi didn't know was that Naruto didn't tell him about the royalty. Kakashi looked at Naruto and smiled under his mask. Well, Naruto, how would you like to go on this training trip with me? I will teach many things and I can help you go over your parents' techniques. Naruto gave Kakashi a questionable look. How would you know their techniques? Your father was my sensei. He was also the person that stepped up to be a father figure after my father committed suicide. Your mother was also my mother. Honestly, Naruto, if the Kyuubi attack never happened, you would have probably grown up with me as your brother. Now answer the question, will you go with or will you stick here trying to learn on your own? He asked. He saw Naruto hesitate and his eyes flicked to the left while he clutched the blade in his hands. A thought entered Kakashi's head. Naruto, I won't take those scrolls from you, Naruto. Those are yours. I am not a thief, you know. Naruto eased up a bit when he heard that. So what will you tell Granny Tsunade? I will simply tell her that it will be I that will be taking you on the training trip instead of Jiraiya. Start packing. We leave tomorrow at first light. If you want to say goodbye, then I suggest you hurry. I want you to go to the Twins Dragon shop around the corner, here. He took out some money, buy some supplies. I have enough money to last. While you do that, I will talk to the Hokage and start making a route plan. Kakashi disappeared and Naruto let out a breath. He entered the building Kakashi mentioned and noticed Tenten was working behind the counter reading a book. He walked up to the counter casually. Hello, Tenten. May I get a standard pack of kunai and shuriken, please? Tenten looked up when Naruto addressed her and moved in response to his request. What's up, Naruto? I haven't seen you since Neji was let out of the hospital. She said, trying to make conversation while she grabbed packs of throwing starts knives and counting them. Nothing much, going on a long-term mission soon and I need to resupply. He said while looking around the shop. The walls were lined with different weapons of every caliber. Really? Have fun with that, long-term missions suck. Do you know how long you will be out for? Naruto bit his tongue and shook his head. No. Kakashi-sensei only told me to start preparing for it. How much? As he noticed that Tenten had finished packing up the stuff and sealed them away in a scroll. The standard pack comes with 200 shuriken and 100 kunai, 50 of which have exploding tags on them. Since you asked for a standard pack, it also includes 30 feet of ninja wire, 10 smoke bombs, 20 more exploding tags and a pack of 30 pills, 10 food, 10 chakra, and 10 blood pills. Altogether that's 700 yen. She sounded off, checking the scrolls and showing Naruto the individual items. Naruto nodded his head and took out his wallet and paid for it, waving his hand goodbye. He made his way to the academy, wanting to talk to Iruka for a bit. As it turned out, Iruka had just dismissed the class for lunch when Naruto arrived. He saw Iruka sink back in his chair and groaned. "Oh come on Iruka-sensei, they can't be that bad, I mean got through my class decently." Iruka turned his head and smiled softly when he heard that voice. "Naruto, you've grown. How long has it been? 6 months? More than that it feels like. Take a seat, my class just left for lunch." Naruto took a seat and Iruka brought out a bento box. He opened it and spilt it and threw half the sandwich to Naruto. "Go ahead, I know you're hungry, Naruto. So tell me, how much has changed since the Chunin exams? I heard you went on the mission to retrieve Sasuke and it ended badly. I visited the hospital a couple of times, but you were knocked out. They said you were in bad shape," he said as he looked down in concern. Naruto smiled at the older man's concern. "Yes, Sasuke really is strong. Kicked my can pretty good, but I won't let it get me down. I will get him back, that's a promise. How about you, Iruka-sensei? How are you?" He fired back to the older man. "Oh, you know, nothing much, it gets quite boring when you're an academy teacher. This class isn't nearly as loud as your class were." "Well then again, they are only in their 3rd year." Iruka cut his eyes to Naruto and laughed. Naruto looked at him in confusion. "What?" Iruka looked down at the ground with a smile. "Naruto, you remember when you were in your 3rd year and you cut class? It was the one where you turned the Anbu's armor pink. When I caught you, I noticed in your eyes there was sadness. You were trying to get attention and they wouldn't stop saying mean things about you. You didn't know why they were doing it. I was ready to berate you and yell, but when I saw that look I decided to do a different approach. I took you out to get ramen because it was lunchtime. I asked you why you wanted to get strong and you said, to gain the respect of all the villagers. And I look at you now and I realize you have grown up so much and I see you've taken care of my headband as well," he said with a grin. Naruto chuckled and finished his sandwich. "So why are you here, Naruto? Knowing you as well as I do, I would have figured you would want to train. Kakashi-sensei came and spoke with me earlier," Naruto started. "He said he would be taking me on a training trip that will last a while, which means I won't be around for a while. I came to say goodbye for now." Iruka looked at Naruto in surprise, but then smiled again. "Iruka-sensei, I was wondering, when I get back can we spar for a bit?" Iruka gave the young blonde a curious look. "And why would you want to spar with me, Naruto?" Iruka asked, wondering about the odd request. Naruto just grinned sheepishly. "Well, you're a strong ninja, and I never got to spar with you all out. I would like to have a real fight with you." Iruka sighed but nodded. "If it's a fight you want, then I'll grant your request." Suddenly Kakashi was at the door. "Naruto, let's go. I see you've packed all of your things into a scroll. I've been given permission to leave now. And we might want to if we are to leave before Jiraiya catches wind of this." Naruto nodded and hugged Iruka before grabbing his scroll and following Kakashi. Yuki had just finished up working and had put her stuff and went out the back door right as she heard the front door open. She headed to a small house at the end of the block. She walked through the front door and closed the blinds. Suddenly she went up in smoke, and when it cleared there stood a very similar woman but clearly different. The brown hair turned black and the blue eyes turned brown. The hair got longer. She let out a sigh. Tomorrow was the day. The day her life had changed. She shook her head to clear her thoughts. Is this really the life that he would want for me? She asked herself once again for what seemed like the 1000th time. She decided not to eat and looked at the time. Putting on a sleeping gown, she moved to her bed and closed her eyes. She opened them again, feeling weird, and what she saw put her on defense. She was no longer wearing her gown. She was wearing a brown shirt with a blue kimono over it tied at her waist by a brown sash. In her hands was a white mask with red marking over it. And in front of her was a man who was supposed to be dead. He had short brown hair with a bandage wrapped around his lower face. He had no eyebrows and wore a simple attire. A black sleeveless muscle shirt with black pants and sandals. He wore an armband of some kind on both arms, and on his back was a massive sword. Yuri saw no one else around and noticed that they were in a forest. The other person shook his head. "You know, this was never the life I wanted for you, but I can see that you haven't forgotten the training you went through. Haven't let your guard down since you opened your eyes. Good, that means there is still hope," the man said, a grin evident under his mask. Yuri narrowed her eyes. "This isn't a genjutsu. I would have broken out by now. I can't detect a chakra signature anywhere," Yuri thought. "Is it that really Zabuza? Where are we?" The man, now identified as Zabuza, laughed. "Things are about to get more messy. The gate will open soon. The child of prophecy approaches. Your destiny is intertwined with his. Help him awaken his powers and build your own. For he will be the main force to protect this world, but he cannot do it alone. The one to save the world approaches. Zabuza said in a voice that left the young women with more questions than answers. Know this, there are forces who play the board who wish to destroy everything. You are the decisive factor. And know that I support every choice you make, Haku the figure said, fading away. Yuki woke up with a start. Man, that was a weird dream. She stopped when her eyes fell on her desk. Sitting there was a white mask with red marks. A mask that was definitely not there when she fell asleep. Was it true then? If so, who is the child of prophecy? And what gate was Zabuza talking about? Ugh, this all so confusing. She shook her head and noticed the time. On top of a giant mountain a large old toad was breathing deeply. It opened its golden eyes and made a sound. A large blue toad carrying twin swords on its back appeared with two very smaller toads, both wearing cloaks. One male and one female. The giant blue toad bowed and disappeared. What is it, Grand Elder? The male toad asked while the female looked worried. You haven't talked to me since I trained Jiraiya boy. What is it? The old toad looked at them both before his eyes went completely white. The gate will open soon. The destined child of prophecy has set out on his adventure. Darkness closes on the world. The kin of Asaruth and Huntiel lay in wait for their chance to strike. The destined child must be awoken to his true potential. He will meet the Arctic Queen, befriend the hated one, learn under the air of the Fang, and gain the help of those around him. He cannot work alone. The child of the toads must help him, but he must not push. Oh, now for time is not on our side, the old toad intoned before his eyes went back to the golden color. Both the small toads were stunned silent. They looked at each other before disappearing. In a dark area an emerald eye shone in the darkness and a menacing laugh echoed around the area. Sharp teeth flashed in the darkness as the voice growled. It's only matter of time before the kin are assembled. Soon this damned gate will open. The nations will feel the wrath of the kin again. Once we open the gate and we revive the master, then we will not be stopped. No doubt the master will want to take revenge against Kurama and the other traitors. They made a grave mistake sealing us behind the gate. Though I will give them some praise, that human who made the seal was strong. Maybe his own lineage is still alive. If so, he will be the first to feel the wrath of the fallen. The voice laughed again. There was a loud snap and the darkness was full of eyes belonging to figures that stayed shrouded in the darkness. Prepare the others. We will strike soon. The clock is ticking, they have 4 Earth years before we strike. Is there enough room to send a message? There is. Send one. Head straight for the location of Kurama. Whoever you send will die, so don't send anyone important. Just let him know that back. One of the eyes dipped before vanishing and a red symbol appeared. It was instantly covered by purple symbols and then they both faded out. The voice laughed once more before the area was dark again. In a highly lit room 4 figures were surrounding a circular table. The first was a woman with long golden hair with soft blue eyes. She was wearing a white robe. The second person was a male wearing a black cloak pulled up and a darkness shrouded his face. On his back was a long side. Third figure was another woman, shorter than the other two, who was wearing a purple robe. The fourth figure was tall, with white hair parted by a small horn. He was wearing a white robes with black markings on the back and was holding a long staff, one end circular and the other the shape of a crescent. His eyes had a ripple pattern. So Hagoromo, what do you think? Said the male with a scythe. On the table was a basin of a strange mist that was showing a red symbol. The other man shook his head. That's what we thought as well. Fate saw it and brought it to our attention. We wanted to know your opinion. Fate, do you think the human world can handle the gate opening again? The man asked the shorter woman. Said woman started to mess with a golden sphere and she looked worried. I do not know, Shinigami. Last time the gate opened humanity was nearly wiped out and the number was relatively small compared to what it is now. The only reason they won was because Hagoromo was able to turn the tailed kin against their brethren. But Asaruth and Huntiel have had time to gather even more forces. And their master has been gathering his own power. He will be their first target for sure. He is the only one that could oppose us. We cannot be divided during this time or we will surely fall. The woman said, not looking at anyone. But on the other hand, ninja have grown into a very powerful force. If they could be united and they could bring the tailed kin carriers together, then their chances of survival will go up significantly. Plus there is plenty of strong ninja out there. There are too many variables that can change. For now all we can do is wait. The other woman decided now was the time to talk. No, we can do more than wait. No doubt the twin demons, Asaruth and Huntiel, will be making their moves. The gate is not yet weakened to a state where immediate action is needed. But we need to start preparing. Hagoromo, go to each of the tailed kin and give them a warning. The human world needs to be warned if they are to stand a chance. Fate, keep an eye on that seal. Shin, I want you to start preparing Maki and the warriors within. Well, we are not allowed to intervene. Normally the warriors of Maki aren't considered divine, so we can use them. Get to work. With no more words the tall woman disappeared in a bright flash, Shin dissolved into the shadows, Hagoromo simply faded out, and Fat stayed. Naruto and Kakashi had set up camp right outside the land of Wave, right before they crossed the bridge. Naruto was doing a chakra control exercise that involved spinning a leaf on his forehead. It was hard but he was determined. Meanwhile Kakashi was writing down a timetable while some meat was being cooked over a small fire. He heard Naruto growl as the leaf blasted of his forehead once again. Deciding now was the time to talk to Naruto about how the trip was going to work. Okay Naruto, come here. I've been making a timetable. Here's what we will do. While we are out, Tsunade-sama wants us to make contacts inside some other villages. Our first destination is Kiri. They just got out of their civil war and we need to befriend their leader. Whenever we stop you will make 200 clones. 50 will be working on your mother's fighting style. Another 50 will be working on chakra control exercise, which will also include elemental chakra control. 50 will be working on your father's fighting style, while the last 50 will be practicing general ninja skills which include stealth, trap making, survival skills, recon, assassinations, etc. etc. The real you will be working with me on learning your mother's sword style and physical exercise. We need to bring your chakra control up before we can start working your parents' jutsu. Okay. He said, hoping Naruto understood. Fortunately for him Naruto did, said Blonde grinned. Got it Kakashi-sensei. Let's rest today, go through Wave tomorrow and start training the next day. How about that? Naruto offered, wanting to sleep early. He was excited to train. But he needed sleep. Kakashi didn't have a problem with it, so he quickly served dinner and they both went to bed. Naruto didn't even know that his entire being was about to be tested. Also, I don't own Naruto, someone did message me saying that I at least had to do it once, so thanks for that. X. Naruto and Kakashi woke up bright and early the next morning looking forward to getting the trip started. Naruto was surprised at first when he saw the bridge. After the mission to Wave he hadn't been back, so he had no idea that the bridge was named after him. Kakashi walked him through the changes in the village. They quickly made their way to a restaurant named the Sleeping Kite. They saw a girl with brown hair and blue eyes. She came up to their table with a rose eyebrow. Another Leaf squad. I knew we were popular with the Leaf, but I didn't know the ninja found our roads popular. Hello, my name is Yuri, can I take your order? Kakashi looked at her for a moment, seemingly thinking about something, but then shrugged. I'll have some coffee and a biscuit, that'll be all, the older man said. Naruto ordered some fish. Yuri walked away calmly, but as soon as she was behind the counter she looked at her hand, it was shaking. It's them, the one who killed me and Zabuza-sama. Zabuza, said the child of prophecy approaches. Could he be referring to Naruto? Yuri thought to herself. She saw Anna and Chief and relayed the order. Anna-chan, I have to leave early. I have something to do. She said simply. The older brunette nodded her head and went back to work on the order. Naruto and Kakashi finished breakfast fast and walked outside the area of Wave into some backwoods. Naruto smiled as he remembered the area where he and Sasuke competed the tree walking exercise. He could even see the kunai / marks they had made. Naruto cracked his neck, made the 200 clones as Kakashi had said he would. He set the clones out into the groups of 50, while Kakashi made a clone for each of the squad of clones to oversee their training, while he pulled out a scroll. Okay Naruto, time for you to learn Kenjutsu. Fortunately for you, Kushina-san trained with us a lot. With my Sharingan I was able to learn her style. Now out of respect I changed it a bit so I don't use her style. But the basics are the same. I can teach you that, but as we advance you will need to consult your mother's scrolls. Now copy my movements. He stared. Naruto soaked it up like a sponge. In Kakashi's eyes Naruto was stiff and he didn't flow like Kushina had, but he knew Naruto would pick it up in time. He was learning fast and that made Kakashi proud. When Team 7 formed, Kakashi had been excited when he saw Naruto slotted for his team. But then the damned council had to intervene. Sasuke had been slotted too, and as he was the only one with a Sharingan in the village, it would be up to him to teach the brat. He recognized the skill potential that Sasuke had, but his arrogance almost promised that he would full mature into it. Plus with the council on his backside, he didn't have much a chance to train Naruto. Kakashi was so proud of Naruto when he learned that Naruto had taken to the Toad contract and that he had learned the Rasengan in only a week. A couple hours later Kakashi noticed the position of the sun and looked at Naruto. Kakashi had been an elite Black Ops unit and he was getting tired, but Naruto was still moving on strong with the basics of his mother's royal tide. High style with her sword. It was style that relied on heavy hits and keeping the pressure on an opponent. Naruto had learned that his mother named the sword Kato Shio. The frozen tide. He learned why when Kakashi suggested he pour his chakra in the blade. As soon as he did, seals lit up on the blade and when he swung a light blue energy left the blade and upon contact froze the ground. Kakashi told him they would focus on the elemental portion when they got past basic chakra control. Realizing a break was in order for his own safety, Kakashi pulled Naruto to the side and told to relax. "Naruto, you just relax for a bit. I am going into town for a bit. Don't do anything too destructive." He walked away and Naruto started to cool off. It was when his senses told him something was wrong that he noticed a hair on his neck standing up. He also noticed something wrong with their training area. He had dismissed clones and was sorting through the memories, but after that was over he noticed the temperature had gone down slightly, despite the fact that it was midday. He stood up and started looking around the area. He wasn't alone. Naruto drew his mother's sword and kept turning. His fear came true as a voice echoed around the area. "The threatening mongrel has left. Hello, little human. I expected the container of the almighty lord of the tailed kin to be tougher. You're lucky. My mission is to deliver a message and not kill you. That right goes to my master, unfortunately," the cold voice said. Naruto took a guess and swung his blade in a direction, and the blue energy arced over to the area, freezing the tree it hit. The voice chuckled. "You can try swinging all you want, little human, you won't catch me. I was sent here to die and yet foe turns to prey. To think, Kurama, your container can't even protect you. Tell me, little human. Have you tested death before?" Naruto started to back away, but he bumped into something. He turned around quickly and froze. It was a human-looking man, but there was something wrong. The black tail swinging behind for one, and the small horns on his head. His teeth were razor sharp and his hands were like claws. Naruto tried to stand tall, but this was a menacing figure indeed. The figure gave Naruto a cold smile, and Naruto was compelled to look into his eyes. His eyes were a dark black color that seemed to be sucking him in. "Oh please, I thought better of you, Naruto." Naruto snapped out of it and saw he was in the sewers that held the great Kyuubi. Naruto saw that the fox looked mad. "You call yourself a mighty ninja, but you fall under this simple hypnotic trick. You are lucky my pride won't let me let you die by the hands of an inferior level demon. Now go and I will explain later. Just know that I may be a little more cooperative. And if you can try to knock him out, we need to question him." The demon said, and Naruto was out on the outside world and saw the man about to tear his throat out. He reacted instantly and threw a punch at the man's neck. The man just grabbed at it and grinned. He slowly started to apply pressure. He expected to hear a crunch at any moment, but all he heard was the blonde little mongrel to chuckle. What's funny, he was cut off as a killer left hook caught him in the jaw and sent him flying. When he recovered, he saw the blonde kid covered in red chakra that slowly made one tail behind him and fox ears on top. His eyes went from blue to red and he had picked up the sword, which for some reason was also covered with a red cloak. Naruto grinned as a second tail appeared and he disappeared and reappeared by the taller figure's side and swung the sword. The man, however, saw it coming and covered his hands in some type of purple energy and caught the blade. "Going to have to try harder than that little mongrel." Blonde growled and disappeared again, this time moving too fast for the taller man and decked him right on his nose, sending him flying again. "The name's Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki. Remember it when I send you to hell," Naruto shouted. The taller man's just chuckled his cold laugh. "My name is Zrazzle. And believe me, I have no plans on going back," he said and took a step forward, his intent solely on Naruto. Which was his undoing. "Looks like I need to teach you a lesson on how to respect your seniors." And he took one step forward before he blacked out. A shadow appearing behind him which cleared to show Kakashi. He gave Naruto a nice smile. "I believe I am the teacher here, Mr. Zrazzle." Naruto, calm down with that chakra, we don't want to attract any attention right now, Kakashi said as he began to tie up the strange-looking man. A couple hours later he woke up only to see he couldn't move. He saw seals placed around him and saw the silver-haired man in front of him. The blonde kid was to the side. "I wasn't paying attention and let my guard down to outside attacks, not to mention I used a human body, plus this guise is very adequate with seals. I can't do anything if I can't access my yoki. I was sent to deliver a message and I messed up. Asura-sama will notice soon and activate my suicide seal soon. He'll be double pissed if I don't deliver the message." "Okay, so I am going to keep this simple. Who are you and why did you attack Naruto deliberately?" the scarecrow-like man questioned. Zrazzle just smiled. "Ask Kurama. I was sent to deliver a message. The gate is weakening. Soon Asura-sama, Huntil-sama, and Lord Azazel will make their moves. All mortals, blood traders, and divines will feel the wrath of the kin again. In 4 years' time it will all be over. Have fun while you still can," he said and grimaced as a red mark appeared on his forehead. His time was up. His body started to heat up and for some reason the seal on Naruto's stomach lit up and he started yelling in pain. Zrazzle went up on a flash of light and disappeared and Naruto collapsed. Kakashi ran over to Naruto and saw he was running a high fever. Kakashi started to go through what medical jutsu he knew, but nothing was working. "Do I need to go to Lady Tsunade to heal him?" he thought to himself. "Damn, he's heating up too much, I need to move quick or he'll burn to death." I think I might be able to help you, a voice said. Kakashi looked back and his eyes widened. In the village of sand, a lone figure stood on top of the buildings made of hardened sand. His red hair billowed in the winds and he looked impassively at the moon. His green eyes not focused on anything in particular. A voice inside of his head was distracting him. Kill, kill, kill. I demand you kill. I want to kill someone. The redhead growled and clutched his head, why couldn't he stop? Something behind him moved and he reacted by sending sand out and catching a small little kid in sand. He almost squeezed his hand together, a move that would have killed the boy, but then something stopped him. His mind went back to that day in the forest where he and a blonde kid fought and he remembered what made him strong. Love not fear, he thought to himself. He slowly let the kid down and walked to him. Out of fear the kid had passed out and the redhead scolded. He did hear a voice from below the rooftop he was on. Knowing that it was probably the mother, he made a platform of sand under the kid and him and gently lowered them down to ground level where he saw a brown-haired lady frantically talking to TheAstralNinja when she noticed that someone was floating down. She immediately went to check it out but froze when she saw who it was and that her son was behind him. The redhead looked the other way but the sand underneath him lifted the boy over to the mother and gently laid him down in front of her. The mother never took her eyes off of him but he didn't care. He was trying to change and now was as good a day as ever. He looked over at the woman and nodded before the wind picked up and he disappeared in a whirl of sand. He reappeared on another roof, this time far above the ground. And the voice started again. Why didn't you kill that fool? He dared to scare you. He deserved it. Arasabaku growled as Shukaku, the Ichibi no Tanuki, rampaged in his head. Usually he would never have been able to resist the bloodlust of the sand demon, but things had changed. He was a sand ninja and they had taken part in the Leaf Village Chunin exam. Orochimaru had killed his father and convinced the council to take part in a small war with another village's help against the Leaf. Needless to say that Gaara was their ultimate weapon. Not much can take down the power of Jinchuriki, or as the situation was everyone that could have taken him out was preoccupied. Or so they had thought. Naruto Uzumaki was only a genin and they had easily learned that he passed with the worst grade in his class. He wasn't deemed a threat. He was deemed interesting when he had made it to the semi-finals in the exam, but not a threat. No, Gaara had been instructed to kill Sasuke. At that point in time that didn't bother him. It was when Naruto Uzumaki challenged him did the fight become interesting. Naruto fought for his friends, Gaara only fought for himself. It was a battle of ideals and in the end Naruto won. Gaara had been unable to move and Naruto had somehow knocked out Shukaku. Naruto laid right in front of and told him. It hurts, doesn't it? The pain of being alone. The agony of everyone hating you. The hatred they have for you just because you happen to be the victim of circumstances. You and I, we're the same. My village hates me, they absolutely despise me. I honestly should be like you. A cold machine, he only fends for himself. But we are different. I was saved by my precious people. They took the time to know and love me. They care that I exist and that I succeed. In return I am strong for them and use our bond to strengthen my own powers. We both hold monsters. But it doesn't mean we have to be them. Naruto had said, Gaara wide-eyed as he heard Naruto's speech. He then heard Kankuro and Temari land beside him and the Uchiha land beside Naruto. His siblings took a battle stance and for once in his life he felt like stand down. Kankuro, Temari. I no longer want to fight. Uchiha relayed this message to Naruto. He won. Let's go back to the hotel, he had said simply, both his siblings giving each other looks of shock. On the way back they never said a word, but Gaara's thoughts were going along one simple track, do bonds really make one strong? Naruto, when this is all over I would like to talk to you again. He looked at both Temari and Kankuro and sighed. Kankuro, Temari, I'm sorry that I've been a terrible bra for me fight with Naruto has enlightened me a bit. Kankuro made a movement. It's okay dude, you just rest for now. You've lost a lot of energy. He said simply. When they were back by their hotels they were put under house arrest and told not to leave unless accompanied by their guards. It was a couple of days later when they were free to go. Knock knock knock. Gaara was meditating trying to ignore the voice of Shukaku when he heard the someone at the door. Kankuro went to answer it and called for him. Coming from the back door he saw Naruto Uzumaki and a taller man behind him. Naruto Uzumaki, what can I do for you? Gaara said simply while inviting them in. After they had been freed Naruto had brought his master Jiraiya to fix his seal. It didn't stop the voice, but it did stop the bloodlust and the small amount of control that Shukaku had been able to wrangle. After that day he and Naruto had become friends. It was because of this friendship that the two villages, the Leaf and Suna, were able to work things out. I will not kill simply because you say so. Gaara said monotone. Maybe I can convince him to listen to you. A voice said behind Gaara. He turned slowly, not feeling any ill intent. There was a man sitting in a lotus position holding a staff, one end closed with rings lopped around it and the other was in the shape of a crescent moon. His head had small horns and his eyes had a ripple pattern to it. And he appeared to be floating. Upon seeing the man, Shukaku grew quiet and if Gaara thought it was a true there was fear. "Old man Hagoromo," the demon whispered quietly. Gaara rose an eyebrow. The man simply just tapped his staff on the ground and the stone morphed into a seat. "Might as well sit down, this will be a long talk. There is much you need to know." Gaara was thinking about what to do when Shukaku spoke up. "You want to listen to him, Gaara?" This shocked the Redeed. Shukaku never called him by his name. Kakashi took a stance against the voice but saw it was the woman that served them at the restaurant. Except she looked different, face was recognizable. Kakashi widened his eyes. "Haku? Is that you? What are you doing here? I thought I killed you. Does this mean Zabuza is alive as well?" Kakashi said mostly to himself. Haku noticed the blonde behind Kakashi. "Question me in a bit, if we don't cool down his fever he'll go comatose. I can use my ice style to cool him down," Haku said in a simple tone. Under any other circumstance Kakashi might have attacked on sight, but knowing his student was going to die, Kakashi stopped himself and moved aside. Making some one-handed seals, a large block ice appeared in her hands and she placed it on Naruto's stomach, then doing some hand seals using both hands, she placed her glowing hand on Naruto and moved it down. "His body, help me take his clothes if you would please." Not questioning the medic, he quickly started taking Naruto's clothes off, leaving him in his boxers. Haku didn't break concentration for another minute before sighing. "He should be fine soon. I have no idea what seal it was that man had on him, but it reacted violently to this one on Naruto's stomach. His entire body heated up." "I guess you want some answers?" Haku asked and Kakashi gave her a deadpan look. Haku shook her head at the stupid question. Naruto woke up and found himself in the oh-so-familiar sewers. Knowing the way by now, he made his way over the cage that held the almighty Kyuubi. The fox looked at Naruto with an impassive look and ignored him. "Hey fox, can I ask a question?" Naruto said after a moment of uncomfortable silence. In response, the fox just looked at him, waiting. "Well, you've been around for a while, so I was wondering if you know who Kurama is and if you know who Zrazzle is. You called him a lower class demon, right? What was that all about?" And he mentioned something about a gate being weakened. Naruto stopped when he noticed the nine-tailed being giving Naruto its full attention. "That comfy Naruto, this is about to be a long story. Okay, to answer those questions, I am Kurama. That is my name. And yes, I know Zrazzle, though not personally. But believe me, you got lucky. If not for his inherent lack of attention you could be dead." The fox stated, causing our resident blonde widen his eyes. Where to start? Before humans developed the ability to use chakra, there were two worlds. You had this world. The demons called it the plane of man. We demons lived on a plane called Maki. There was several different types of demons that lived there. Each species was called a kin. We Biju, there are 9 of us in total, were called the tailed kin. I am the leader and we were given the title as the strongest. You still with me? Naruto nodded, though he was trying to make sure he didn't get the facts out of place. "Okay, as I was saying, there were some demons who didn't like the humans. Maki is vast, but the plane of humans was way bigger. Some of those demons wanted for themselves. 3 in particular led this movement. While we Biju were named the strongest, we were only 9. Asaruth and Huntiel, these were 2 of 3 leaders that led the movement under their leader. His name is Azazel. If there was any being that could fight the tailed kin, it was Azazel." Naruto was taking all this in and was awed at that story. Some details were confusing to him, but he hoped that Kurama would clarify. Asaruth and Huntiel held the title as the largest kin. Azazel only held one other person in his kin. But he died in battle. You see, those 3 opened a rift into the human plane right as the humans started using chakra. The chakra at that time were a very powerful force. So strong, in fact, the leader of the humans, who you know as the Sage of 6 Paths, forced the 3 leaders apart and sealed them away from each other. He came to us, the tailed kin, and asked for our assistance. In return, he would let us stay in the human plane. You see, we tailed kin did not care where we were, we just looked out for each other, but when the rift opened we let ourselves explore. We didn't hate the humans, merely curious. We liked the human plane. So when the old man come and gave us the option, we took it." Naruto raised his hands and Kurama stopped. Naruto put the information together. "So you guys turned against the others' demons. I'm going to take a guess and say that he sealed all the hostile demons in a realm which was named the Gate." Naruto. Kurama nodded. "Yes. He sealed them separately and I battled Azazel. By the end of that battle we were both exhausted. But so exhausted was he that he couldn't fight back against the other Biju, helping the old man seal away Azazel in what was known as the Gate Prime. As he was being sealed he cursed and swore the gate would break. And it appears it has. Zrazzle was an agent of Asaruth. Not a high-level demon, but more than enough to fight you as you are now." Naruto took all this in and stayed silent before he looked the fox dead in the eye. Is there a way to become strong enough to face them? The fox gave the young blonde a curious look. I'm not stupid, furball. Those demons are going to be pissed when they get out. Probably to the point where they won't even care about survivors. If you were the only one that could fight that Zrazzle guy, then that means that I'll be targeted by very powerful assassins, so I need to become strong enough to beat them. Naruto proclaimed with a powerful determination in his voice. Kurama took a moment to think, yes, there is a way. Tsunade rubbed her forehead as the large amount of paperwork that was piled on her desk and for the 1000th time that day, sighed back into her chair and leaned back. 4 years ago Naruto and Kakashi had learned about a new threat that put the entire elemental nations in dangers. Upon learning about this new danger, she had updated their mission to an S-class courier to each of the hidden villages. In 4 years' time any village they had managed to convince was to meet in the Land of Iron to hold a meeting. The Land of Iron was chosen as the meeting grounds because it was a neutral land controlled by samurai, not ninja. Tsunade had put her hopes into all the 5 great nations being there at the least, though her hopes for Iwa weren't high. Suna would be there definitely because the Kazukiage was Naruto's friend, Kiri was tossed because they just got out of a civil war not too long ago, and Kuma was a factor Tsunade couldn't predict. Tsunade looked at one report, but her minds went to the last person on the list of contacts that Naruto and Kakashi were supposed to try and get the help of. Akatsuki. The Akatsuki had been quiet ever since their move to try and capture Naruto. They were last, but they were the one that made Tsunade the most worried. They were an afterthought. But Shikaku Nara, her military advisor and the only other person besides Jiraiya that knew about the gate, had made it plain and simple. If we have to worry about these demons and the Akatsuki then we might as well forfeit the board. Instead let's try to enlist their help. I heard that they are a part-time mercenary group as a way to make money. Let's offer them a deal. Hopefully we can deal with them after this gate fiasco. Or better yet hope the demons can kill them for us. Either way it will be more beneficial for us if we don't have to worry about them. In response Naruto and Kakashi were given a folder should they run into the Black Cloaked group. It had the terms of the contract and the means of payment should they agree. Tsunade didn't like it, but she knew it was the best course of action. The meeting was to be held in a month's time and… Her eyes widened as she fell on today's date. After the first mission contact with them became hard and she got random updates. The last one she got was a couple months ago and she only knew there was an extra person with them, but she knew nothing about that person. And they were due to report back today. Shizune. Out of nowhere Shizune appeared in the doorway, looking at her mask in curiosity. Go get Sakura and tell her to gather Naruto's friends and their senseis. Naruto and Kakashi are due today in about an hour's time. Shizune nodded and rushed off to do her new task. Out at the west gate 2 Chunin were sitting at a table playing a game of cards, one was smiling and the other had a glum look on his face as the other took the cash piled onto the table. Dude you have to be cheating, 5 games in a row. There's no way hey do you see that? Said the losing guy and pointed out into the distance where the forest gave way to a path. 3 figures were making their way towards the village. The first one had silver hair that seemed to defy gravity. His headband was at a tilt to cover one of his eyes and he had a ninja mask to cover his lower face. His wardrobe was a simple attire. A black trench coat over a Jonin vest which was over a white shirt. He wore dark blue cargo pants and along a white blade was strapped over his back his hands were in his pockets and he gave a lazy attitude. The next person was a woman with black hair that went to her mid-back and was out partly in a bun at the top. She wore a black sleeveless t-shirt with a green battle robe over it tied at the waist. Her face was covered by a hunter nin mask. On her back was a giant sword. The last person was taller than the first. He had sun-kissed blonde hair that was spiky and bangs that framed his face. He had deep blue eyes. His attire was a light blue coat that had green winds licking the bottom of the coat. Under it he wore a black muscle shirt which he filled out nicely. His pants were black cargo pants and he wore a pair of gloves that were metal plate at the back. On his back was a bright blue sheath with a red pommel. So shocked were the 2 Chunin they didn't notice the group that had appeared behind them. It consisted of Tsunade, Shizune, Jiraiya, Asuma, Kurenai, Ino Shikamaru, Choji, Sakura Kiba, Shino, and Hinata. Kiba was the first to see the group of in the distance. Hey Naruto over here he shouted with a friendly wave of his hands at the group. The 3 people obviously heard them because they stopped. They seemed to be discussing something before the silver-haired one nodded and the blonde quickly threw his hands out and Kiba's instinct acted in time for him to avoid a kunai that whizzed by him. He looked back and then at the group only to notice the blonde one was missing. Where did he go? Asked Sakura not seeing the blonde one, her attention at first drawn to Kiba when he blocked the kunai and then back at the group walking towards them, but she noticed that the blonde one was missing. Everyone, except the Sannin who were shocked already, turned around and were shocked when they heard a voice form behind them. Naruto Uzumaki was standing on the gate grinning at all the shocked eyes and grinned when everyone got scared by Kakashi's sudden appearance as well. "Well, it looks like it worked, Naruto," Kakashi said, while scaring everyone else in the process. "In all seriousness though, it is nice to see you all ag. How in the bloody hell did you do that?" Kiba shouted while Naruto's grin went wider as he realized the dog boy was talking to Kakashi and the woman. Kurenai sighed and hit Kiba upside the head. "Kiba, no need to be loud. It's good to see you guys again. It looks like Akamaru hasn't forgotten you, Naruto," she stated as Akamaru walked in front of the blonde ninja who had jumped down from the gate. Asuma spoke up next. "I must ask if that was the Flying Thunder God technique, and who is your friend?" Asuma said, pointing out the woman who had yet to say a word, unknowingly asking the one question on everyone's mind. Kakashi made a motion and the woman slowly took off her mask. Under it was a pretty face with brown eyes. Sakura went wide-eyed as she recognized the face almost immediately. "My name is Haku Yuri. I was originally from Kiri, who was taught by a swordsman who died about 4 years ago. Ever since then I stayed in the land of Wave where I stayed before I ran into Kakashi and Naruto-kun." All the females rose an eyebrow at that. "I have a talent that was beneficial to Naruto-kun in his training, so they allowed me to join them, and I trained with him." The older crowd looked at her before Tsunade put her own 2 words in, "And what ability would that be?" It was at this time when Kakashi stepped forward and the older crowd finally noticed the blade on his back, which made his friends Asuma and Kurenai widen their eyes. "How about we take this to a training ground and we can show you the fruit of our training then? Say training ground 7 in 10 minutes. He said. The older crowd made a motion and Tsunade nodded. "Okay Kakashi, why not? Everyone that wants to see this go, Shizune, go get me Nico and tell any off-duty Anbu that wants to watch to be there as well." Naruto went up to Kakashi and Haku and put a hand on each shoulder. "See you there," he said, and they started to turn blue before cracking and shattering to ice, which promptly melted. Of course, shocking the other ninja present. It would seem their test would bring a great crowd as over half of the Anbu were here, all the Jonin, most of the Chunin, and some recent Genin teams that had just passed. On the field were Naruto, Kakashi, Haku, Tsunade, and 3 Anbu. One was wearing a cat mask and had a long sword strapped on her back, one wore a bear mask, and the third had a blank mask. "Okay, so the person being tested here mainly is Naruto. I need to know what his abilities are so I can properly place him. After that I want to test Miss Haku over there. You aren't recognized as a ninja, so testing you will let me know where you lie on the power scale. Last will be Kakashi, as I know you are already strong enough. Is that agreeable?" Tsunade stated to the 3 ninja as she pointed at the 3 Anbu behind her. "These 3 Anbu will be your testers, Naruto. Neck will test how well you use that sword of yours. Bear will test your taijutsu. And blank will test your ninjutsu and jinjutsu. If nothing else, let's begin." Naruto took out his blade and held it beside him and waited for the cat mask Anbu. Said Anbu stood across from Naruto and put it in front of her, ready for combat. Neither of them moved, Naruto standing calmly eyeing down the Anbu. Off to the side, his friends had mixed opinions about the test. Kiba had the loudest opinion. "Does the Hokage really think Naruto is able to fight an Anbu? What kind of training does she think he's had?" Ino nodded in agreement while Shino and Shikamaru kept to themselves. Choji, for once, wasn't eating his chips and was staring at Naruto intently. Sakura on the other hand was eyeing Haku, trying to think of a reason to trust the girl after her actions from before. Nico saw that Naruto wasn't going to move, so charged Naruto at low Chunin speeds and swung her blade in an overhead swing. It was easily paired to the side and she found herself kicked backwards. She backflipped and leaped forward and did a corkscrew-like spin while swinging her blade in a rotation. Naruto stepped to the side while the purple-haired woman spun by her and caught her by the foot and threw her at a tree. She didn't go far before fixing herself and got her bearings. Dazed by the backlash, she failed to see Naruto approach, but did have enough bearings to sidestep a swipe and rotated on her foot and counter-attacked with a swipe of her own. It was paired and he swung, which was also paired. They went through bout of swinging and pairing, Nico unconsciously picking up the speed of her attacks and movement, unaware that Naruto was keeping pace with her with ease. To everyone else that wasn't used to seeing such high-speed movement, Naruto and the Anbu were hooked into a fight where their hands were a blur, metal clanged on metal creating sparks, and they were getting faster. Off to the side, Anko, Kurenai, and Hana were shocked. They were friends with the purple-haired Anbu personally. To think that this little brat could push Yugao to a fight where she's moving purely on instincts and training is astounding. Anko muttered to herself while Kurenai and Hana agreed. Asuma had dropped his cigarette when he saw the speed being picked up. The older crowd was shocked and couldn't say anything. Haku had made her way to Naruto's friends before the fight and smirked. What this about him not being able to fight in a bud in Yuzuka-san? He seems to be doing perfectly fine. She had stopped when she saw Sakura glaring at her. Haku recognized the pink hair and the emerald eyes immediately. She looked Sakura before bowing. Haruno-san, it is good to see you again. I see the years have been well for you. She said. How are you alive? Sakura said with an icy tone. The other of the rookies were confused. Back with Naruto, they had made one final clash where they trying to push the other back when Naruto smirked. He lessened the pressure for less than a second, but it was enough. With less pressure pushing back at her, Yugao lost her balance and leaned too far forward. Naruto had ducked under her blade and sent an uppercut to the woman. He went sailing through the air. In quick response, as he had knocked her out cold, Naruto had jumped up and caught her before handing her to a medic nin. Naruto nodded at Bear, who took a step towards Naruto and tossed a pill at him. Said blonde caught it and saw it was a soldier pill. He shook his head and put it aside. I have quite a bit of stamina. I will not need it. Now if you are ready, so am I, Naruto claimed and took a stance. Bear saw this and wasted no time. Seeing him move at great speeds, he felt no need to hold back on this kid. Naruto saw the man rocket towards him and he grinned. No playing around then. The blonde stood his ground and only waited a second as Bear quickly approached him and threw a right hook. Naruto caught the fist and flipped Bear over his shoulder. Bear caught himself midair and went down to the ground and sent a low sweep to the blonde. Naruto saw this coming though and jumped over the leg and sent a roundhouse kick to the man on the ground. Bear jumped back and the entire crowd was shocked at the small tremor and crater Naruto had made. The entirety of Naruto's friends were still focused on Haku and Sakura. And most of them were confused at what Sakura was talking about. Sakura, what are you talking about? Ino said, probably the most confused. After Naruto had left, Ino and Sakura were both training under Shizune and Tsunade. They had become best friends again through the training, and this story was not one she had heard before. She also held the faint notion that she had seen this woman before, so did Shikamaru. Sakura, never taking her eyes off of Haku, started explaining. 4 years ago when we had become fresh genin, our first C-rank mission. It was to escort a bridge builder back to the land of Wave. It quickly turned into a A-rank protection mission. This bridge builder, his name was Tazuna, was the last hope for the land of Wave. A man named Gato controlled the entire shipping industry and was draining the land dry of all its money. Tazuna was working a bridge that connected them to the mainland. But this bridge they could trade with others without Gato's interference. Well, Gato took exception to this and hired mercenaries to kill Tazuna. That's the reason it turned into an A-rank mission. He hired Zabuza Mamachi, demon of the hidden mist, and the second strongest member of the 7 swordsmen of the mist. But he also hired Zabuza's apprentice. A woman with the ice release bloodline. Later we learned her name was Haku. Gasp, we ended up fighting them both on the bridge. Sasuke activated his Sharingan, Naruto did something and defeated Haku. Naruto wasn't going to kill Haku, but Zabuza was in danger because Kakashi had trapped him and was about to deal a killing blow, but Haku took it for him. After that, Gato showed up, double-crossed him, and Zabuza killed him and his entire army of mercs before he died of his wounds. They were buried with honor in the land of Wave. You were dead. I saw it. How are you alive? Sakura explained and asked. The group then turned to Haku for an explanation, Shikamaru reading some chakra expecting the worst. Haku smiled sadly. I don't know. I shouldn't be, I really shouldn't. Here's what I remember. Flashback. Haku looked at Naruto, her mask falling apart, and looked at his shocked face, that strange red chakra disappearing. Haku, why? Zabuza saved me. I owe him my life. You have defeated me. I am useless to him now. So go ahead. You have an obligation to kill the enemy. Haku said with little emotion. Naruto just stood there. You're more than a tool. Why can't you see that? Naruto yelled. Haku smiled sadly. I was trained to be this way. She turned her head and saw Zabuza's predicament. I guess I can be useful one more time. I am sorry, Naruto. Please grow strong. She said and rushed off to Zabuza. It happened in a flash, she jumped in front of the lightning blade and it pierced her heart. She was dead instantly. Haku opened her eyes after the flash and saw she was in a white room. It seemed that there was no end to it. In front of her was a white orb and a black orb. The white orb had a small golden glow to it and radiated warmth. The black orb had a gray glow and radiated a feeling of nothingness. Am I dead? Haku asked the 2 orbs. The white pulsated as it answered. Hold on, young one. We are waiting for one more to join us, it said with a feminine voice. It was only a couple of seconds later, Zabuza joined them. Haku rushed to his side and noticed they were both wearing robes made of white silk. Zabuza looked around, saw the 2 orbs and sighed. So I'm guessing we're dead. That must make you 2 Kami and Shinigami. Well, let's have it. Where are we going? Zabuza said. The white orb seemed amused and the black orb responded. You know, most mortals start bowing and asking for forgiveness when they are in our presence. Zabuza growled at that. I am a ninja. I've done terrible things. I've done nice things. I've lived a life of murder and killing to live knowing full well the consequences, and I have no regrets. I fully deserve what my life has bought me. The only thing I ask is that you let Haku enter your realm Kami. She has only ever done what I asked her to do. I will take responsibility for her actions," he stated. Haku was wide-eyed but stayed quiet. The black orb chuckled. While the white orb seemed to glow brighter. "Make no mistakes, Abusa Mamachi, Haku has done no wrong to have been denied entry to heaven, but there seems to be a problem. It is not quite her time to go. As it is, we are sending her back. Haku, you are to wait in the land of wave. Your destiny will come soon," the white orb said. Haku was about to say something when she disappeared. "Now Zabuza, you are a different story. You however have a chance to redeem yourself." Pla's back end. Haku took a breath. The scene played in her head, but she knew they wouldn't believe what really happened. When she told Kakashi and Naruto, the silver-haired man didn't believe her until Naruto believed her and convinced him. So she decided to tell them the story that she had come up with. "I remember blacking out. In the darkness I heard. It is not your time, go back now, and when I woke I was in the forest outside of the land of wave. I used a henge to disguise myself and I've worked in there ever since." Shikamaru perked up before anyone else could. "So you weren't lying earlier then, from Kiri and trained by Zabuza. You said you were able to help Naruto. How?" Haku smiled and pointed to Naruto's current fight. "Watch and you learn." Speaking of the blonde, he and Bear had gotten locked into a close quarters match. Bear's style using speed with power and Naruto using a style that relied on flexibility, counter-attacking, and dodging. They seemed evenly tight and both were starting to tire out. Bear was visibly more tired than Naruto, sinking to 1, and it appeared that sometime during the fight he had lost his mask, showing a face with short black hair and brown eyes. Bear rose from the ground and made a signal to Tsunade. "It appears that I am at a loss here, Hokage-sama. He will clearly beat me if we got into a prolonged fight." Bear bowed to Naruto before joining Kat on the side. While the blank mask Anbu took a step forward. Naruto ate the soldier pill from earlier and waited for instructions. "Okay Uzumaki-san, this is going to be simple. This is a ninjutsu only test. Fire as many jutsu as you can in rapid succession at me and we will see where you lie." "Okay," the blank man said. Naruto nodded before grinning. He made a sign that made some look at him strangely while Sakura went wide eyes. He stretched one hand to be fully extended upwards with his index and middle finger extended while the other was bent. His other hand in front of his chest mirroring the same position. Hit and miss jutsu. The area became thick with fog, much thicker, Sakura noticed, than the time on the bridge. Blank nodded at the thick mist and waited for Naruto to make a move. He saw a shadow in the mist, but before he lined up for a jutsu it was gone. Suddenly Naruto's voice echoed all around the area, echoing so much it was impossible to tell where he was at. The silent killing technique. The ability to move and kill without making a sound in the cover of the mist. Impossible to counter with your eyes or ears. "Your move Anbu," Naruto said in a monotone voice, creeping all of the genin and most of the chunin. Blank made one hand sign and the mist disappeared and when it was gone revealed that Naruto wasn't there. Blank cocked his head before jumping back as Naruto sprang from the ground trying to tackle the man. Seeing his target move, he front flipped and landed, drawing his sword and swinging the direction of the Anbu and watched as a light blue arc came out of the blade. Blank took a step to the side and saw that the blade hit a tree which instantly froze upon the arc, making contact with the tree. This shocked everyone in the area for multiple different reasons. A sword that can freeze its opponent. Jen and Naruto's friends. Where is a sword like that made? Chunin Jonin. That's Kushina's blade. How does he have it? Does he know? Tsunade and Jiraiya. Naruto spun to the side after the swipe and sheathed his sword before jumping on a nearby pond and made some hand signs. Haiden. Senhari Shai, ice release. 1,000 needles of death. The water rose up from the lake before making several needles made of ice that flew to Blank. He made a hand sign and spit a fireball out. It wasn't large, but enough to make the needles melt. Naruto used that moment to make another hand sign, while Blank's vision was blocked by the fireball. Blank watched as the needles melted and by instinct jumped to the side as a massive column of wind blew right at the spot he was at and uprooted the tree behind him. He looked at the tree in shock before ducking and dodging several blades of winds being thrown at him by Naruto. It wasn't too long before they stopped. Blank looked at Naruto, who grinned and rushed the Anbu. They met each other in a deadlock. "Did you forget this was only a ninjutsu test, Uzumaki?" the Anbu asked. Naruto, still with a grin, moved the lock so he had one hand free. "No, you see I have an advantage here. Both of your hands are occupied while I have a hand free. Which means, ice style." "Shackled freedom," Naruto said after making some one-handed signs with his free hand and stomping his foot on the ground. Blank disengaged the hand lock and jumped back as ice formed around his feet and almost locked around them. "Ice release." I've only ever heard of the Yuri clan being able to do this as blank put a hand up. Okay, Naruto will change things up a bit. Throw your strongest wind, water and ice type jutsu at me. Naruto nodded and looked to Kakashi, nodded. Naruto backflipped and closed his eyes. They snapped open and Naruto drew his blade. He made a sign with his right hand and the mist covered the area again, but this time Naruto didn't wait. He sprung forward with his blade and made another sign. Wind style. Divine judgment of Susanoo. He swung his blade and hurricane-like winds erupted out of the blade, taking the mist with it and heading straight for the masked Anbu. Naruto backpedaled away and started to make some hand signs. Water style. Raindrop storm. Clouds covered the area over Naruto and it started to pour. He made another sign. Ice style. Collected rain. Frozen rain dragon drop. The rain started freezing and started to form an ice dragon which rose and descended on the Anbu who now was in an area, stumbling to stay on the ground, his wind jutsu uprooting all the trees and making some people go flying back. So engrossed in his concentration as to not go flying by the winds he failed to notice the dragon until it was too late. The ice dragon went down on him in an explosion of ice and freezing wind. Everyone who was still standing waited with bated breath as the mist died down and they saw the masked Anbu on the ground, Naruto's blade at his throat. Everyone was shocked at the powerful display of chakra thrown around by Naruto. Naruto took his blade away from the man's throat and sheathed it and stuck out a hand to the man. He took the assistance and brought Naruto in close so no one could hear him. I am impressed, Naruto Uzumaki. Know that if the Anbu ever need help you will be called upon, he said, and before Naruto could respond the Anbu turned towards the Hokage and bowed. He made a motion to the other to Anbu and all three disappeared. Tsunade, still shocked the power displayed by Naruto, just stood there. She shook her head and smiled warmly at Naruto before making a decision. Kakashi, how much experience does Naruto have? Kakashi put a thoughtful look on his face before he shrugged his shoulders. Well, he could definitely beat any of our Chunin and can stay on course with the Jonin. If he had to face a squad of elite Jonin at the same time he might be in trouble. Tsunade nodded at that. Naruto Uzumaki, by might, right and power of the Hokage, I now promote you to the rank of Takubetsu Jonin. You have all the rights and powers as a Jonin of the Hidden Leaf Village. Please meet me in my office to discuss what this means and what will be expected of you. Now if I may have Asuma, Kurenai and Anko, please come here as well as Haku. Naruto bowed to her and walked over to Kakashi. As Haku approached, Asuma finally put the pieces together on that blade. Hey, isn't that the Kubikurumchim? Kurenai and Anko scrunched their eyebrows, but they put it together as well. Haku, not missing a beat, I did say I was trained under a swordsman. She put it simply. Tsunade rose an eyebrow but didn't question it. Okay, here's how this will work. You will test your Taijutsu against Anko, that's the purple-haired lady. You will test your Jinjutsu against Kurenai and how well you use that blade against Asuma. I would test you in ninjutsu, but I know that the Yuri clan specialized in ice-style ninjutsu. Following that logic, I'm going to guess you taught Naruto how to use ice release, plus taught him how to use wind and water style. So I don't need to test you in that. She stated. Haku accepted this but had one question. Why didn't you test Naruto-kun in Jinjutsu? She asked. Kurenai had been wondering as well but it kept quiet. He was never good with Jinjutsu. Besides, with him making as many shadow clones as he does at one time, he would disrupt in Jinjutsu going through his system immediately. Now if there is no more questions we will start with Taijutsu. Anko, if you would please. Tsunade stated. Weapons are allowed. Haku walked back a couple of paces away from the women and took a simple stance with senbon needles in each hand. On her way she had put on her mask, covering her face. Anko grinned. She rushed forward, throwing a flurry of punches in a matter of seconds. Haku dodged them easily and only blocked when needed. She made no motion to hurt Anko and kept avoiding her punches, kicks, and blocked her weapons. Are you just going to stand there and block all day? Anko shouted, irritated she was doing all the attacking. Naruto and Kakashi grinned off to the side. So frustrated was she didn't notice she overextended her punch and was leaning too far forward. Haku capitalizing on it. She caught the arm and threw her on the ground and pinned her, senbon needles quickly at her throat. My style of combat does not revolve around fighting hand to hand. It involves dodging and blocking to make my opponent wear out their stamina before I move in to finish them off. Thank you for the match, Anko-san. Haku said while getting up and off of the purple-haired woman, only to notice she had turned into sakura leaves and were picked up by the wind. She turned around and noticed she was all alone, everyone else had left. She felt in her mind a forced sense of panic try to rise before she smiled behind her mask. She stood still, not moving, and released the Jinjutsu silently as to not alert the steady approaching woman. Kurenai had taken the moment she was distracted to try and put her in a Jinjutsu. She started making her way when she saw the young girl standing still unmoving. Do easy, Kurenai thought with a smile, bringing a kunai out. It was when she was a step away from raising the kunai to Haku's neck that the ice user struck. She ducked under the kunai and lightly applied a senbon to Kurenai's neck. "I think you lose, Kurenai-san," Haku said, stoic. Kurenai dropped her blade and nodded. Haku stepped back and backflipped as Asuma came down with his knuckle busters. Haku saw the wind chakra giving it a longer reach. She took out the long broadsword on her back and readied it. She waited for Asuma to go and then she swung it. Asuma saw the blade coming and jumped over it, only to be kicked back by Haku, who had used the blade handle to push herself up. The ice woman landed gracefully and took the blade out of the ground. Asuma nodded at her before taking a step back. Tsunade held her hands up at Asuma before he could do anything. "I think I've seen enough. Naruto, Haku, Kakashi. Follow me back to my office." Everyone else dismissed. "Jiraiya, if you would join us as well, that would be nice," the busty blonde said. In Tsunade's office, everyone took a seat minus Jiraiya, who was leaning against the wall. "Okay Naruto, it's obvious you know who your mother's is. That blade is hers and only you could have opened it. So how much do you know?" she said blatantly. Naruto blanked for a good second before he started cracking up. "I've known about mine parents since I left to train with Kakashi-sensei. Mom and dad left scrolls in my apartment that I found. When Kakashi-sensei offered to train, I told him about it. My dad left a small note mentioning how he trained Kakashi, so I thought he could help train me in their techniques. It's why I denied Pervy Sage's offer to train. I also know about the Akatsuki." Jiraiya looked shocked and Tsunade sighed. "I am not mad. Well, I was, but Haku-chan and Kakashi-sensei explained it to me why I wasn't told. I understand why the old man made it a secret. So I am not mad." Tsunade nodded, then inclined her head. "So when do you want to make the announcement? Revealing your heritage will shake the leaf to the core. Seeing as you are now a Jonin, you are automatically allowed to take the Uzumaki clan head and Namikaze clan head seats on the council. You will also need to appoint a proxy. Now to fill you in on what you missed. Sarutobi-sensei was the proxy for both seats and they were passed on to me when I became the Hokage. You follow?" Naruto nodded. "And now that you are Jonin, I no longer have the right to hold those. And seeing as I am Hokage, I can't be made a proxy as long as the clan head has the power to. Which means that you need to make one fast because the next council meeting is." She looked at a calendar and then a clock. "In an hour. What will you do?" she asked. She got scared when she saw the evil glint in Naruto's eyes. The Hidden Leaf Council was made up of two sides. The civilian side and the ninja side. On the civilian side was important businessmen and women, which included the academy school board. They were all in a section on the side of the room. The other box contained the clan leaders. In order, there was the Hyuga, who used to hold the Uchiha clan vote on matters, but the clan was stricken from the council after Sasuke had left, the Namikaze clan, the Inyazuka clan, the Aburame clan, the Yamanaka clan, the Akamichi clan. They were primary clan leaders. The less notable clan leaders were the Uzumaki clan, the Kurama clan, and the Sarutobi clan. Now today was the annual meeting for the month. Everyone filed in and started talking to each other, waiting for the Hokage. All conversation stopped as Tsunade slammed the door open. Everyone got up and bowed as was tradition. When they sat down, some of the civilians got scared when they saw the grin on the Hokage's face. The ninja were confused as they saw Iruka Yamino walked in behind her with a smile on his face and walked over to an empty seat. The seat that belongs to the Uzumaki clan. It was held in respect for the clan and everyone was confused as to why Iruka was sitting there. He just smiled and nodded to Tsunade. He also dimly noted that all the clan heirs were present as well. "Alright, let's start this meeting. I can tell some of you are confused at Iruka sitting there. I have the answer. Iruka is now the Uzumaki clan proxy. We welcome you to our halls, Iruka," she said, moving fast, not letting someone interrupt her. The first item on today's agenda, the Namikaze clan. If anyone was going to say anything, it died in their mouths. The Namikaze clan was the oldest clan in the Lease Foundation. During the clan wars where the Senju and Uchiha clans in constant battle, Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha made a deal to work together and make a village. They were in the process when the Namikaze clan made themselves known and told them they were on their clan grounds. Instead of going somewhere else, they made a deal with them, making the Namikaze clan the first clan to join the Leaf. They were also known as one of the richest because they got a percent of everything from the Leaf, and though all died in the ninja wars, they were still making money because of one Minato Namikaze. So when Tsunade mentioned them, everyone sat a little straighter. Danzo, an old warhawk and council elder, narrowed his eyes. The compound where everything the clan had ever stored was protected by a seal. None of his ninja could open it and every attempt of forced entry was denied. With the death of Minato and Kushina, only Naruto Uzumaki could open the compound. And he never got a chance to get close to that kid because Sarutobi kept a close eye on him. Everyone knows Lord Fourth died, but what most of you don't know is that he had an heir. Said heir has been protected and his name was changed to protect him from the fourth and his wife's enemies. He was only to be told about his heritage when he fulfilled some requirements. He was to reach the rank of Jonin, be strong enough to protect himself from the enemies from his father, and protect the clan of Namakas. Please all rise as we welcome to our chambers the Naruto Uzumaki Namakas, the last of the Namakas clan and the last of the royal Uzumaki clan. He has appointed Iruka Yamino to be his proxy for the Uzumaki clan. As soon as the words were out of her mouth, Naruto entered the room. There was chaos from the civilian side spewing nonsense that the blonde brat could never be the Hokage's son. The clan leaders held different reactions. The Ashi Hyuga and Tsumin Yazuka were shocked beyond belief, a reaction shared with all their friends. What most didn't know was that in the past the Namikaze clan were good friends to the Namikaze clan and held many clan alliances. The Ino Shikacho trio smiled as they had been good friends with the fourth Hokage and were happy to learn his legacy would be continued. Shibi Aburam just took a closer look at Naruto and nodded. Tsunade blasted the room with Kai and the all but one civilian went quiet. The last remaining civilian was a pink-haired woman with emerald eyes. Sakurama Haruno, Sakura's mother, was livid. She screeched at the blonde Hokage. Hokage-sama, you are obviously being tricked or pranked. There is no way that this incompetent brat is even remotely related to the fourth. Tsum and surprisingly Kiba both growled loudly at that. But it was Hiashi that spoke first. Shut your mouth, woman. If you would get your head out of your ass and use that little gray matter in your head that you call a brain, then it's obvious. He is a carbon copy of Minato. In fact, I'm surprised that no one has figured it out before he snapped, causing some people to look at him. It truly took a lot to make Hiashi mad. Hiashi stood up and bowed at Naruto. Naruto, I know the Hyuga clan has never openly welcomed you, but we have never disrespected you either. The Hyuga clan were great allies and friends with your father and his clan. It would be an honor to have you be on this council. Another bombshell dropped as anyone that knew about him knew he never bowed to anyone. Naruto just looked at the bowed figure before nodding. His father's diaries mentioned how he was good friends with Hiashi and his brother. It would be a pleasure, Hiashi-san, for me to keep the friendships my father had. If it wouldn't be too much trouble, I would like to visit your compound later today to talk, and Tsum-sen, I would like to visit your compound tomorrow. Hiashi nodded and Tsum smiled fiercely. You are more than welcome to come by, Naruto. I have plenty to talk about. She said, and Kiba gave Naruto the same smile. Naruto returned it. And looked at the Ino Shikacho group. They each gave the other a look before nodding. Shikaku spoke first. It would be a pleasure to have you on the council, Naruto. You can be guide for the future generation to take our place. I speak for all three of us. It is an honor to welcome the Namikaze clan back to this prestigious council. And all three stood and bowed before taking their seats. Naruto then turned to Shibi, with Shino right beside him. Shino was the oldest out of the group right behind Naruto. So Shibi had been having Shino do a lot of council work with him. Shibi made a motion to Shino, who in turn looked at him before turning to Naruto. The Aburam clan would be glad to have the Namikaze clan return to the council, and we hand over our support to you, should you need it in the future. He said simply, and Shibi nodded. Seeing the primary clan heads nodded their consent, the lower branched also pledged support to the Namikaze clan. The civilian council had no power to stop it, but it didn't stop the pink-haired woman from trying. Hokage-sama, you can't seriously be letting this happen, can you? She screeched. He will corrupt this village by being allowed on the council, and there is no proof to support that he is even the child of the fourth. She was about to continue when there was a yellow flash, and Naruto was in front of her holding onto a tri-pointed kunai. Sakurama screamed in terror, and Naruto just looked at her before throwing the knife back and flashing to his new council seat beside Tsum and Shikaku. He nodded to Shikamaru and Kiba. Tsunade took a breath but was grinning when he saw a spark in the pink-haired woman's eyes. Next phase is a go. And what does the Namikaze clan bring to the table? Konoha law states that a new or reformed clan must bring some type of gift to the leaf upon acceptance of council seat. If no gift is ready, they must step down until the next council session when a gift is ready. What do you bring, Uzumaki brat? She said with an evil snarl. Naruto grinned and snapped his fingers. Hinata never took her eyes off of Naruto. Suddenly the air in the room dropped dramatically. It dropped to the point where breath was now visible, and everyone saw a mirror made of ice start slowly appear in the middle of the room. Anbu appear around the mirror ready to strike. The mirror was now large and showed the reflection of a feminine figure wearing a mask. The figure slowly leaned forward and some people screamed as Haku stepped out of the mirror and it dissolved into snowflakes. As soon as the mirror was gone, the room temperature went back up, Anbu still at the ready to strike the new arrival. Naruto stood up. Anbu, stand down. Council, I would like to introduce Haku Yuri. The last member of the Yuri clan, famous in the mist for their unreleased bloodline before they were slaughtered in the Mist Civil War. She was with me and Kakashi while we trained and has become a valuable ally. I have convinced her to come join the Leaf, though upon her wishes she wants no part in the council, and she has the support of the Namikaze clan and the Uzumaki clan. Haku, please take off your mask. Naruto stated. Some of the members were shocked while others had started to make plans. Haku stood still as Naruto introduced her, took off her mask when asked. Sakurama was pissed that the brat had come prepared and there was no way the ninja council would reject a new bloodline in the Leaf. Hiashi was the first to speak. The Hyuga clan accepts this gift. Though we do have a question. He stated simply. Where will she stay? Naruto nodded at that. She will be staying with me in my compound. She is welcome to stay there as long as she likes and is free to move when she feels comfortable with the layout of the village. He stated. Hiashi nodded and sat down. Shikaku was whispering back and forth with Shikamaru before he nodded and allowed the younger teen to step forward. As of this moment, what is her relationship with you, Naruto? He stated with a bored look. Naruto smiled and Haku blushed slightly. Good friends now, Shika. He said. The Nara nodded and sat down. Tsunade waited a couple of seconds before speaking again. If there are no more questions, Haku, please stand behind Naruto. Now moving on to other topics. After the meeting, Naruto met up with his friends, Haku in tow. They all decided to wait on him as all conversation stopped when they saw him. He grinned and walked over to them quickly. Shikamaru shook his head. Only you would prank the council in this fashion, Naruto. Welcome back to the Leaf. The lazy Nara said. Kiba smiled fierily. We're gonna have to spar one day, Naruto, he said while Akamaru barked. Ino looked Haku and extended her hand. I know you and Sakura have a past, but you're a Leaf ninja now, so welcome to the village. Seeing as Naruto has an appointment with the Hyuga, why don't you come with me and Hinata and we can show you around the village and we will all meet back at the stone memorial at 6. Is that good with you guys? Ino suggested. Haku took the hand and gave it a firm shake. Naruto looked at a clock and nodded. Yes, that would be great. Show Haku around and introduce her to people. I need to be making my way over to the Hyuga compound now. I'll see you later, Haku, Naruto said and was on his way. Is it time, Huntiel? A dark voice asked. Darkness surrounded the area, emerald and sapphire eyes the only thing that could be seen. Almost Aserith. 1 more month and we will be able to rescue Azazel-sama. For now we can send another messenger. Let's send out one for each of the tailed beast kin. No doubt the higher beings have started to prepare and the tailed kin have warned their host. Let's send them a declaration. A declaration of war. Huntiel roared. 9 pair of eyes appeared in the darkness. A red symbol appeared on the ground before turning purple and the eyes disappeared. Aserith laughed and started to make the final preparations. Huntiel growled as the eyes disappeared, an ungodly rage in his eyes. The human plane will be ours. The darkness covered the area again and all went silent. Is Takubetsu the right word? If you are wondering why, Jonin, I'll tell you. Naruto went through 4 years of training with Kakashi, an ex-Anbu Black Op captain. Haku, trained by the equivalent level of Kakashi and Kurama. So Naruto is extremely powerful but doesn't have the experience needed for Jonin. So that's why he is Takubetsu. Huntiel and Aserith are on the move. What will happen next? Stay tuned. Also, I hope you don't mind my style of writing. I know some things seem rushed and I blame being new for that. But honestly, as I write more, style should get better. As always, please leave a review and tips. What if Naruto awakens a bloodline in wave Sasuke bashing? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.